Hi, welcome to your computer-aided design class. Today we're going to see three topics. We're going to see how to create a part, how to create some operations like cutting material from a part, and how to make symmetry out of a part. So first thing, let's open the software and remember that you have to click part so you can create a new part. And in that menu we have some previous part that we have done and some drawings that we have done. And once the part has opened, well, the new drawing has opened, we can make the part. So we have to select some planes where we can draw this part. It depends on what you want to do, which plane you're going to use, and which one will be easier to start from. So once you selected the plane that you're going to use, select drawing and go to the tools like a rectangle, lines. In this case we're going to do a box, and with that box we're going to create some dimensions so it can be a perfect square box. And after that we're going to create an operation, and we're going to create an extrusion of material. So we're going to extrude the material so we can create a three-dimensional part. And at the operations menu you have the extrusion operation, so click it, and we have two ways of making the extrusion. We can select that arrow and move it around so we can drag it and like get the material out of that box, and or we can write it down at the menu. For me it's easier to write it down, but if you like it you can use the arrow, and you can click accept whenever you finish that. So once you have that, you can go to the top menu and select some views from there, and you can also select like the type of views that you want to have, like in lines, like a solid, like transparent lines. And this is useful when you are making a very complicated part. But for now let's leave it in the default. So what I'm going to do next is that I am going to like create a drawing from this part, so we can select one of the faces, and remember the menu of the views, we can select it and be facing that face, and once there we can start drawing on top of that face. This is useful because we're going to cut some material. We could have done it previously since the start, but I want you to see that you can also make this to make a part. Obviously you will take more time, but you can make this. And right here I am going to establish the dimensions, and if the dimension is fixed, this menu will appear, because the other one is like already given within the first one. So be careful with that. And after that I am creating a mistake on purpose here, so you can see that if I create the operation of cutting off the material, then we can reverse the operation like this. We don't want this to happen, right? It is like, oh no, I want it the other way. So I will click it just like okay, but then you see like, oh, this is not the part that I wanted. So you can go to the project tree and select the drawing and right click it and then select edit, and you can edit your first drawing. So what I'm going to do is to create this closed shape. Remember that SolidWorks only works with closed shapes. If the shape is not closed, it will not make the operation. So, or it would detect some of the closed figures, like some part of the branches that you want to do. So what I did here is that I make the drawing, but I want to change the operation. So what we have to do is not edit it, is we have to delete it, we have to suppress it, and then we have to create another one. So we go to the operations menu and we click cut, and once that we can select now both of the parts. So this is an easy way to cut the parts. I already know the dimension that I want to cut, and click accept, and there you have it. You have edited a part and created some cutting within that part. So what I want you to do right now is we're going to create some like some roundness and some chamfer. We're going to go for those fillets there, and we're going to make a chamfer. So just select the vertex, and no, sorry, just select the lines that are like the edges of the part, and the chamfer will be doing its part. So you can modify it like this. You can also modify the angle, and when you have it, you will click accept, and that's easy, right? It's like cutting some material, but we're making a chamfer. The chamfer is a little bit too much, but it's just so you can see what happens. And the other one is the roundness. So it is the same, but this will create a round shape, and the other one will create a very sharp shape. So once we have that, we can create something else. Like we're going to create a hole. So for that we're going to go to the top view, and we're going to create within that plane or within that face, we're going to create a circle, but we cannot select the middle. So we're going to create some guidelines so we can find the center of that figure, of that square. So what we have to do is that we have to go for another tool that it's a dot, and we're going to position that at the center, so it will help us as a guide for the circle. So go for that dot, and then search for the middle point of that line. SolidWorks already knows which are the middles of those lines, and just go for the icon that says it is like horizontal, and the other one is like a vertical line. So here's the horizontal one, and the other one was the vertical, and you will find the center. So when you have it, click it and go for the circle and create the shape. Once we have that, you can select it with the dimension tool and create a specific value, so you can make it after that the cut with the cutting tool that we already saw. What I want you to see in this operation when we're making the cut is that sometimes we can add a value and sometimes we can leave SolidWorks to find out. So select that circle, and as you can see, the circle is passing. So if we go to the menu, we can select to the end of the part, and it will automatically go to the other surface and cut it. So we can make also the selection of the faces instead of the lines to create roundness, and it will create the roundness of both ends of the part, if that's how it's said. It will create roundness in the lines that has that face, in this case the superior face and the inferior one. So with that we can create roundness about every face of the part. So once we have that, it's very easy to create parts. So next, always remember to save. I'm going to save it, and next we're going to see how to create some symmetry. So you can create since the beginning a part, like one part of the part, and the other one we are going to complete it like automatically. So you can create like gears and something like that, and you can then control, you create just some part of the gear and then you can replicate it to the other part. What I'm going to do is to create a line, a guideline, and it has to be vertical line. Okay, and after that we're going to create one side of the line, the part that we want to create, like this. So we could have done the whole part, but if it is like a gear, like I said, it will be very complicated to create it from one step. So make the dimensions before creating the symmetry, and after that go to the drawing menu and you'll find the symmetry tool. So search it right there, and when you have it, you will have to select all of the components, all of the lines that you want to replicate to the other side, and then you will have to select one axis in which we are going to reflect the part like this, and it will create a perfect match for the other part. So this is an easy way to create parts, and then you can make the operation and we'll have the part completely done. And you can do it like in 1/4 or in a half, and you can start replicating. For example, if it is a quarter, you can start replicating one part, one half, 1/4, and the other half after that. So what I'm doing here, so let's create another part. This one I will teach you how to create some symmetry, like, so we're going to create like a symmetry, but this is like equidistant entities. So what we're going to do is to make a circle, and what you normally do is that you draw 2 circles, and then you go to dimensions and you select the first circle dimension, and then you subtract the dimension that you want, like the other one to be, to create that edge. But we can use a tool called Equidistant. So when we select the circle, we can manage to find that distance between each one of them. If I select the dimension from the 2 of them and I measure them, it will give me a number. You will see in a little. So in this case, it creates a perfect equidistant drawing from that part, and this is what I was telling you. So if we click both of them, we'll get some distance between them, and for example here we got 10. So what I have to do is I will erase this one and I will erase the other one, so you can see. So when we make equidistant entities, we will have the circle. So next we'll have just to make the operation, and that will be it. So just as easy as that. In this part it is very easy, but in complex parts like a shape that you don't want to follow along and replicate it, you can use that too. It is very useful. And you have created a hollow part. So we can apply material also at the project tree. There's a part where it says material, and you can right click it and you can add the material, and we can search for steel or aluminum. And what is interesting is that it will have all of its properties. So when you apply it, one, it will change color, and secondly, when we make a simulation, it will take it into consideration. So I think we have seen a lot of things in one video, and I hope you practice this. So see you in another video. Bye bye.